And we are live. Hello, everyone. I hope this is going to work well because I am now, in effect, streaming and sharing my screen where I will be also sharing my screen. So I hope nothing bad happens, nothing breaks. We don't have infinite loops and so on. Um, but how's everyone doing? Okay, good.
I'm very
All
good.
right. So,
Busy at work, but yeah, I'm fine.
what I want to talk about today is a bunch of interesting things coming out of Lebanon. Especially, I mean, mostly. I'll talk about several things, but one of which would be this. Okay, and Bobo. Now I'm looking at the YouTube chat. Bobo's here, saying hi, guy. Um, okay. Already we're having an issue, which
Mm.
is I can hear myself twice,
But
which makes sense because I'm on
You
the
have to fix it. Are you using
what?
OBS by any chance?
No, I'm using StreamYard.
Um, I found that when I was using OBS yesterday, that I had to double check that my speaker and my audio was on the same one through Windows settings and through school settings, and also through the streaming software settings. And I think you also have to turn off your audio under the global if you have that under the stream.
Um,
If that makes any
okay.
sense.
Tell everyone to close their mic or use headphones. Monkey's saying. Monkey's here. Hey, Monkey. I think everyone's mics are off. I think it might have been from my side, although now I can't hear it, so maybe it's fine. Monkey, you don't have a group discussion thing, right? Like, it's me and Ali at this point. So, like, you don't have experience with this and how to do it properly, correct? Should be 7 messages in YouTube. I don't see any though after typing and refreshing. Okay, so this is RGR. It's on 2 channels. That might be the issue. By the way, I'm only seeing 4 comments in general on the stream. I don't know if there are 7, then that's a problem because I can't see. I can only see 4. But I think if you can't see anything, that might be because it's on the other channel. Okay, Monkey's saying I'm in the kitchen making coffee. I can't see it, but it's a standard procedure that avoids that. All right. Good. Everyone's starting to come in. I might have. Has anyone here watched Scott Adams's stream when he used to stream? So he had a. He passed away unfortunately, but he used to do a simultaneous sip, where there was like a ceremony where everyone would take a sip of their favorite beverage at the same time. I might do that at some point. Like do like some sort of like ceremony to start the streams. Seems to have worked well for him, and created like a nice. Also, for most of you, since it's morning, it might be nice to like, okay, let's take the first sip of the coffee together or something along those lines. All right. So there are several interesting things I want to talk about today. Before I do, okay, Bobo used to watch Scott. He says I love Scott. He's also the creator of the Dilbert comic. Yes, Scott Adams is comic strip author. He also had a podcast called Coffee with Scott Adams in the mornings. Shoal seems to be for this idea. Okay. So I have some stuff prepared, but before I do, does anyone have anything they'd like to ask me? And this is a good chance to emphasize that everyone is free to join. If you want to ask me questions live, you can join the Q&A by going into using the QR code or the link in the description, where you can join Liberty Politics as the discussion group, and you can join the live discussions like the fine people that we have over here. Okay. All right. So before I start with my spiel, does anyone have anything they would like to talk about, ask about, would like me to focus on? Give it like 10 seconds, and if there's nothing, I'll. Oh, I should. Okay, I also need to open the chat. Guy, if you notice, my cat, I still have cat privilege with Danielle. Yeah, I'll address this at some point on the stream. Okay, let's see if there are questions. Okay. Yes, there are some questions here in the chat. So E Pole Shift. By the way, do you ever want to tell me how to pronounce the name? Because I'd love to be able to pronounce it beyond E. Yes, Guy, I was in some Durka chats the last few days, and they claimed a lot of stuff, but I was curious as to why the Jews want to destroy the Greeks. So Jews want to destroy the Greeks. I can think of several things that this refers to in increasing likelihood. One, Hanukkah. In Hanukkah, we're against the Greeks. Actually, the word for secular in Hebrew, chiloni, comes from Hellenist. It's a fun fact that not many people know. Because that's like it's like the foreign identity, the global identity. Yeah, so that's a very interesting thing. I discovered it a couple weeks ago. So it would be fun for people, especially Israelis or Hebrew speakers to learn. So one is in Hanukkah, we often not often, like the enemy in Hanukkah that we were fighting were the Greeks. So presumably that's one thing, but Hanukkah is basically as far from Hanukkah as possible. So I doubt that's what you are referring to. But so that's the most unlikely one. The slightly higher likelihood is maybe something about the alliance between Israel and Greek. So okay, so Sean is asking which Greeks? Not my Greeks. We have Greeks in the Northwest, and they will not be destroyed. Yes, that is true. Despite our best efforts, we will not be able to reach the Greeks in the Northwest. So Monkey is saying, isn't that just a lie? All Jews destroying all Greeks sounds like many Jews agreeing. That never happens. That is true. Jews are incapable of agreeing with one another, except for global conspiracies, where we're suddenly very much in sync. And people like George Soros are now in lockstep with people like Ben Shapiro, and it's all just one big conspiracy, even though they have fundamentally opposing worldviews. So we don't want to destroy the Greek, but it's either Hanukkah or our alliance with Greece against Turkey right now is practically going to destroy Greece, or let's see if I can quickly find it. Something that happened today, and this just shows you how insidious the anti-Semitic campaign is. Let me see if I can find what I think is most likely that this refers to. I was actually considering putting it on the stream. I decided against it, but now since this is relevant, okay. In Cyprus, so now we have an election coming up, as most of you know, in exactly 3 months. The elections means that people put out election messaging. And as a result, and also Israelis love to vacation in Cyprus. And as a result, Gadi Eisenkot, one of the leading candidates, has put out this messaging in Cyprus, which says, Israelis, enjoy, you deserve it, meaning you deserve the vacation. Presumably Al Jazeera, I think this is the Al Jazeera logo, has. Oh, I think it's making my screen blurry. So people in the on YouTube, can you see the screen, or can you only see the you're sharing your screen thing? I don't know why I can't not have it show it that way, but I want to show stuff to both the stream and the chat. Sorry, both the stream and the discussion group. You can see it. Okay, you can see everything. Okay. You can you see the message, or can you see the image, Shauna? Let me wait for the answers to come in. So, can see bottom image, not sure what it is. So, can you see a message, the image, but the I assume means message. Okay, I'll talk about this now, and then I'll look at the chat responses to see whether you can see it well. You're sharing your screen with a blurred image behind it. Yeah, that's what I was afraid of. I don't know why. Like, how can I enter full screen? No, still. Okay. So this is a message on a billboard. It says you're sharing your screen. Yeah. I'm not sure how to do this because I want both chats to see it, but for some reason school forces me to say you're sharing your screen without actually showing the screen that is being shared. What about this? Still, you're sharing your screen. Can you just not? I know I'm sharing my screen. I would like other people to see that I'm sharing my screen. Damn it.
We can see your screen.
Okay. It's going to be hard to see regardless because the image is blurred. I'll need to ask Carmen how to do this anyway. All right. Well, for now, I'll do it like this. When something that's really critical to see, share window.
The image is not blurred for us.
Monkeys.
We can see it really clearly. At least we could.
Yeah. So what I just did is share window.
Mm-hmm.
So the people in the group. Okay. What I'll do is I'll briefly show it to the people in the group, and then I'll share it on the stream, I guess, because you guys in the group, you were able to see it clearly, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So I'll share it here. No, but that means people won't be able to see the group. I'll have to like switch. All right. This is frustrating. I'll have to figure out how to do this. It'll have to be blurred. Most of the stuff I want to show today is not important, but I'll have to figure out how to do this moving forward. So this is a sign that says Israelis enjoy, you deserve it, meaning you deserve the vacation, and this is in Cyprus. And the caption at the bottom, and presumably this is Al Jazeera, says Israelis claim what you deserve, which is slightly different than what the billboard actually says. It uses some of the same words, has a completely different meaning. So the implication is that the Israelis want to conquer Cyprus, specifically the Greek Cyprus, because that's a Cyprus that Israelis would be in, not the Turkish one. So I assume this is what the Durkas were referring to, because they're morons who believe anything that is written with a caption. Unfortunately, they're not the only morons. There are many morons who would buy this and not do a modicum of checking of whether this is true or makes any sense. No, so the billboard is in Hebrew. It's for Israelis who are vacationing there. It's just like a fun little campaign thing where, like, I know we have a lot of Israelis because it's summer. A lot of Israelis are in Cyprus. We're going to put a billboard there where they don't expect it. Now, is it a good idea? Just on a campaign point, I don't think so. There aren't that many of them there. I don't think it's worth the billboard. And apparently, it allows people to claim that Israel is trying to conquer the Greek Cyprus, which is what I assume the the idea behind the thing in the chat was. Okay, Ahmed is saying it's not the Al Jazeera logo. Okay, it's not Al Jazeera, but and by the way, so Rebecca is saying, yes, the Greater Israel Project facepalm. It's not even the Greater Israel Project. This is just generic world domination, apparently, because Greater Israel never included Greece or Cyprus. Never attribute to idiocy a long-standing pattern of malice. That would be naive. This is a quote. Monkey is quoting Monkey. I agree. So the malice is by the people who made this. The idiocy is the people who believe this. Those are separate groups. Okay, yeah. Why do people always think Jews are trying to take over the world? Apparently, you're also trying to conquer South America and presumably also India. Just places that are travel destinations for Israelis are now, the claim is that we're trying to occupy them and conquer them. It's insane, but we've reached a point where education in the West is so poor that this becomes a something that people would believe, unfortunately. All right. So I assume that was the question. Okay. It's hard. I have to watch two chats. All right. I'll get the hang of this. So, with that out of the way, any other questions before I move on to what I had planned for today? All right. So, recently, we, as some of you know, Israel has had a big fight internally over judicial reform. I'll explain one of the things that, like, an example of an event that would potentially make you understand why at least something needs to be done. So, as we have discussed previously, there is a Muslim Brotherhood movement in Israel, and it has two branches: the southern branch and the northern branch. The northern branch is illegal because it has explicitly called for violence. It's basically Hamas Israel. Now, the leader, or sorry, the vice, the second in command for this movement, for the northern movement, has consistently incited violence against Jews and praised Hamas terror attacks in Gaza 5 years ago, and he has been indicted for incitement to violence, incitement to terror. Okay, so good comment. K-12 elementary and university indoctrination is why liberal Jews accept the leftist propaganda. Yes, unfortunately. Okay, and he stood trial for 5 years. It took 5 years for the judiciary to discuss 3 posts, like publications and sermons that he gave on his Facebook page that were very explicit and very unequivocal as a call for violence. No one was disputing that he was the one who gave them. And he essentially called people to massacre the Jews. And he stood on trial and he clarified in no uncertain terms that he is not regretting what he said. He is not going back on his word. He is standing behind every word that he said. The prosecution asked to give him 40 months of practical prison time. Like in practice, he will serve 14 months, even after deductions and so on. The judge gave him. Does anyone want to guess what the punishment was? Yeah, so Rek is saying not enough. Danny is hoping for infinity. Let's say 3 months. He got 9 months of community service. Yeah, 9 months of community service. Among the reasoning, like the reasons that the judge gave for why the punishment is so soft, Khatib, that's the name of the guy, sent his kids to higher education and taught them languages. This is a person who incited for violence and explicitly like massacring Jews. He got 9 months of community service. The prosecution is going to what's the word? It's not going to accept the verdict. It's going to go to a higher court. What's the word? Can anyone in the chat help me out with the word that I'm looking for? Appeal. Thank you. No, the judge was not Arab. The judge was a Jewish woman. Just presumably left wing. So that's one thing. Appeal. Yeah, appeal. Thank you, everyone in the chat. So the prosecution is going to appeal, and hopefully this is not going to stick. All right. So another thing to talk about, and remember you heard this here first, most of you. Now I'm not the one who came up with this theory, but I think it holds water. Right now the leaders, like the fight is between Eisenkot and Netanyahu. And those are the two leading candidates, with Bennett as a distant third. So starting fresh, this is in Israel. This is an Israeli judge. It's the reason why. It's one of the reasons why people feel like we need judicial reform. Also, in order to make the courts more diverse in opinion, so not everyone is on the far left of Israeli politics. So you have some judges that represent the divergence opinions in Israel. So, as many of you know, I have shown this. No, this. Okay. I have often shown this graph that I made. So far, the changes haven't been substantial in how the votes are distributed. So I'm just going to show the same one. If there are massive changes, I'll update it. But for now, this is roughly where things stand. Okay, and so people in the discussion group can see this. By the way, if you want to see the graphs better, you can join again the discussion group using the QR code at the top left or the link in the description. Right now, the fight is between these two guys, essentially, and it's not necessarily who's bigger. It's the one who has the bigger block is going to be more likely to be prime minister. I think still there's going to be a unity party that shuffles the card. But an interesting theory was that so Bennett was a prime minister with 6 seats, like 5 years ago, and he got that because he was willing to cross over from the other side, and that was like the payment that he needed to get for it. People are now claiming that Avigdor Lieberman is going to pull the same thing, so that if Eisenkot wants to replace Netanyahu, Lieberman is essentially going to say, well, you're going to have to make me prime minister with at least, like, we had a prime minister with 6 seats, at least I have 10. And so he'll say, I want to be prime minister, otherwise I'm moving to the other bloc. And essentially handing Netanyahu the premiership. Now, this might happen. People are saying, like, this is something that the smart money has, like, Lieberman as a dark horse, even though right now it's not in the public discourse. I don't think it's going to happen with the Unity Party, because the Unity Party is going to have way more power. So I don't think it's going to happen, but just something to keep in mind that it might. All right. So, okay, stop sharing. It's hard because I'm doing a double sharing, so it's hard to figure out which button is which sharing. Okay, so does anyone have anything to say about what we discussed so far? And then I'll go to super chats. Have already a few. All from Bobo. Okay, no. All right, so Bobo is asking for a safer, freer, and more Swedish Sweden. Men in general, it'll be nice if populations stop importing foreign populations that don't meet their values. I think the bigger issue that needs to be resolved, though, is birth rates and being above replacement. Because right now, the reason this started in the first place, and the reason that conservatives in Britain did this as well, is that economically, if they wanted to keep the level of living that they had to import populations that for unskilled labor and stuff like that, and also to just not have the population shrink because their social security depends on future generations paying off past generations. And so you really need to take care of a deep cultural issue, which is birth rates. Next from Bobo, this is not the first time you've asked this. Why do liberal Jews in the West have suicidal thoughts? I've actually answered this a few streams ago. To you as well, I think. You remember the answer. It was a very in-depth answer, and so I'm not going to repeat it, but I think it was either last stream or the one before that, so you can go back and watch it to get the answer. Why are gays left-wing and terror in Berlin? So terror in Berlin, for those who don't know, in the gay pride parade, there was an Islamist who went on a massacre spree. Because of course, that's what would happen, you dumb fucks. This is not something you can expect. Like, you import populations that are highly conservative, way more conservative than your native populations, and way more violent in their treatment of sexual minorities. This is what's going to happen. Now, why are gays left-wing? Historically, because they have been a marginalized group, much like Jews, going back to your question about liberal Jews. Generally, persecuted minorities tended to be left-wing because the left-wing was in charge of taking care of the fringes that the mainstream would not take care of. And it's mostly a historical relic of that. And what they perceive as, it used to be, okay, religious versus secular. And the seculars were more pro-gay because they didn't have the religious reasons to be anti-gay. But now, the secular left, and in my mind, it's because it has to do with what liberalism fundamentally is, which is a breaking apart of, like, a generalization of everything, like a universalization. it got to the point of not having an identity, and so you start expanding. Your identity is expanding your circle, expanding the things you identify with. And so as a result, you started identifying with the furthest fringes that are in your society, which is to say the Muslims, which over the last few decades have been imported, and we're already well familiar. It's well ingrained in us as Western society that there are unfairly maligned minorities where there are stereotypes about them that are fundamentally not true, and those need to be fought. And so, as reflexively, people just assume that the same thing is true about the Muslim minorities, not recognizing that these actually came from fundamentally different cultures. Which is not to say, by the way, that all of the they can never assimilate, but there has to be an effort to assimilate them, not just to assume that they're going to catch your culture by osmosis. If you don't have a strong culture and they have a strong culture, then their culture is going to spread while yours gets swallowed up. So you need to have if you want to import people from different cultures, you have to have a strong identity and to be able to say, yes, this is my identity, and if you want to be here, you have to accept it. The West has not done that, and it has imported way too many people. So historically, gay people are left wing because of that, but because they have been opening up to these new ethnic and religious minorities, which is generally what the left does, and the gays themselves are one minority that needs the protections that the left generally provides. It has now come to the point where they are protecting the people who are going to eat them alive. So Bobo is saying Muslims can assimilate. Sorry, Guy. I don't think. I think Islam, as Islam. So I agree with Armin here. Is way too strong of a worldview to assimilate, but individual Muslims can. There are people in the West that are Muslim, that are vegan, that hold a whole host of fundamentally Western values, and they treat their Islam in a way Islam is not meant to be treated, which is to say, like Christianity, like a Protestant Christianity, in the sense that it's like a cultural flavoring. I mean, they believe, they pray, but they fundamentally hold the Western, in parentheses, Protestant Christian values that led to modernity, and to modernity and cultural diversity, which would not have been possible, for example, under Catholic Christianity. Again, original Catholic Christianity, not what we have now. And also, Bobo is saying Israel is a dictatorship of female leftist lawyers. I think that's a bit much, but we do have a problem that needs to be addressed. Okay, so with that, I will move on to my next few topics. So I'm going to share this mostly for the audio. You don't need to see these people. This is an interesting things are happening in the Middle East with regards to Israel. Several points pointing to a there's like a few points, and you can draw shape with them, and I expect some major regional cooperations to start happening above the surface with Israel very soon. So Amir is saying no one cares about the good Muslims that can assimilate. There are too many who can't. Yes, that's true. And if you want, and that's why you have to filter out the people that you import. You can't just bring people in and just assume that they're going to succeed in being part of your culture. Okay. So this is in Arabic. I'm going to translate as we go because this is very, very interesting. Okay, so he is basically this is in Lebanon. This is a debate show. There's a guy called Johnny Fakhri, I think. Yeah, I think that's how it's Fakhri. He is a Christian, Lebanese, and he's now first he's saying, look, Islam. He's talking about the good things about Islam. Okay, and he's saying Hassan Nasrallah, the former head, the now deceased head of Hezbollah, he's saying this is the first time I'm going to call him Sayyid. I don't like him, but I'm a Christian, and we're meant to forgive and to love our enemies as well. Like mercy is a great virtue for Christians. And we don't wish death on anyone, and I didn't want him to be killed. So Sholis is asking, do you know Arabic? I do, but also there's Hebrew subtitles here as well, which makes it easier. But I do. I mean, I understand what they're saying. I don't need the subtitles. Okay. Okay. I don't know if the audio is cutting for you people as well. I was saying I wanted him to stand trial for an explosion, a night raid explosion in a warehouse in Beirut that killed a few dozen people. That happened because of Hezbollah. And he's saying, and even though I respect Muslims, Hezbollah never respected us. Okay. And this is in contrast with Islam. So what he is trying to do is to attribute to Islam, and this is a discussion that I've had with Armin as well. And I don't know. I mean, I think we half agreed. He's saying the real Islam is the Islam of the. He's saying the Arabic Gulf, but as we all know, it's very clearly the Persian Gulf. Of the Persian Gulf, of Renaissance. And economics and the free and sovereign and stable individual. And he's given an example of how the Shiite areas in the Gulf, in the Persian Gulf, and in the Arabian Sea, meaning Saudi Arabia and its surrounding countries, how they are free. They do lead free, independent lives. They're not persecuted in the Arab countries. And unlike here, meaning here the Shiites are persecuting the other groups. Okay. Now the peace with Israel is not going to work. And I'll tell you why. Because we don't just want peace. Peace here. Israel has peace with Jordan and Egypt. We don't, I mean, it's only on paper. Their populations despise us. This is what he's saying, that what we don't want peace. We want normalization. Normalization is what we have with United Arab Emirates. It's where Israelis can now freely fly to Dubai and vacation in Dubai and have a great time in Dubai. And it's a warm peace, essentially. What we have with Jordan and Egypt is a cold peace. And he's saying this is not going to work because we want normalization. We want a warm peace with Israel. Now the host, or the person who's leading the show is laughing at this, but and so if we have normalization and someone breaks a statue or does something like that, meaning a soldier, so this is referring to an Israeli soldier who broke a statue in in Lebanon during the war, and then Israel paid them back, gave them a bigger statue, and punished this person. And so he's saying if we have normalization, and someone breaks a statue or does something like that, then the law will apply to them, and he will be arrested, and they will be arrested. And so he's basically saying, like, if we had peace, they would create a militia, and then come and say, "Oh, had I known him in this case being Israel," but he's attacking Hezbollah here as one of those militias that was like put down, descended onto Lebanon from up high, from countries that they allegedly had peace with. Okay, and I said, yes, I would like to drink whiskey in Tel Aviv. And it's like, oh, what? Did they really just? Is it just that I really want to drink whiskey in Israel? No, this is a message of love and peace, so that we always see peace. Those who follow Avichai Adrei is the former head of Israel's Arab relations division. Especially if Israel is fighting Lebanon, he gives messages and tells people when to evacuate and where to evacuate and so on. And those who follow Avichai, this person, now, by the way, he's since been replaced by a Muslim captain in the Israeli army, who now does the same role. Muslim female captain in the Israeli army. And okay. Okay. I mean, he's saying, you can't call me a traitor. You guys bought the pagers from the Mossad. You guys, like, there are agents among you. You being Hezbollah. So don't go and call me traitor, because I want to have relations with Israel. And we want peace. Will not allow you to put us in another situation, in more just devastation, which is what you have caused by your refusal to have peace. So this is one. Another, I won't play this video, but Luay Sharif, I showed him in my last stream. He is essentially saying, look, all you Arab people talk about Bait al-Maqdis, like from Arabic, from your sources from the Quran. Your Bait al-Maqdis is Beit HaMikdash. It's actually the Jewish temple, explicitly. What you're saying, he's teaching the Muslims history, by using the phrase Bait al-Maqdis. You're in fact admitting that Israel is the party that is in charge of, or that should have sovereignty over Jerusalem, because you're talking about the Jewish temple. All right. I'll quickly stop sharing. There's another video. I'm going to find it soon. So the Ukrainian ambassador to Israel. So, okay. Iran's foreign ministry is claiming, as I assume some of you saw with, I stopped sharing the whole. I stopped the wrong sharing. 1 second. Okay. Here we want this. There you go. And here's where I wanted to stop the sharing. Quickly looking at the chat. So Ahmed is saying he said free human in the Arabian Gulf. There's no freedom in these countries. I think he means freedom in the sense of Shiites are not being persecuted in Saudi Arabia. I think that was his claim. I don't know if this is true. He was pointing out to Shiite communities that are not persecuted. But I assume you are going to know more than me. But nevertheless, that was the claim. Essentially, he's saying what we want. He's essentially trying to say, you're not real Islam. Real Islam is actually progressive and moderate. Okay. So Ukraine attacked an Iranian cargo ship in the Caspian Sea. And this is the Iranian foreign ministry, meaning the RGC's foreign ministry, claiming this. And this is apparently true. This was a cargo ship shipping weaponry and so on. And in response to that, the Ukrainian ambassador to Israel said, we're fighting the same enemy, a different side of the same axis of evil. So I think this would be a very good development if the Ukrainians understand that Israel is an asset to them. That we should work together to topple the regime, both regimes, actually. Okay, now there are also fights between ongoing, like even though the U.S. and the IRGC haven't shot at each other over the last couple of days, there are still fights between Houthis and Saudis, and actually, Saudi elements were able to conquer an area that belongs to the Houthis. They've managed to scare them off and conquer some of that area. Yeah, we talked about the Berlin thing. Okay. Ahmed al-Sharia, who is the president of Syria, aka Mohammed al-Jolani, gave an interview with Al Jazeera and making the following claims. 1, we're working to get a security agreement with Israel. We have no intentions. 2, we have no intentions of militarily intervening in Lebanon. 3, we're in discussions with the Lebanese government with regards to finding solutions that would take. It's a bit poetic, but take Lebanon to safety, to safe shores. And one of the reasons is that any chaos in Lebanon would directly affect Syria. Everyone in the region wants Hezbollah eliminated. Basically, that's where we are. We support that Lebanon would be the sole holder of weapons in Lebanon, as well as with regards to decisions of war and peace. We are avoiding confrontations with Israel, and we have no interest in a confrontation with Israel. We are working along with several countries to reach a security agreement with Israel. And if this agreement with Israel succeeds, it will pave the way to total lasting peace without, and this is important, without giving up Syria's right over the conquered Golan Heights, which is practically speaking not going to happen. But you might find some sort of solution. I don't think it's unsolvable. But the idea now, this is one of several conversations, like the next one I'm going to read, where there is explicit talks of lasting peace with Israel. One of the reasons for this is that Trump just passed some of the oil path that he wants, that's related to IMEC, in Syria, in a way that would go into Lebanon and Israel and not Turkey, which is a good sign for like where they are. Kevin, thank you for the gifted membership. And yes, Dr. Ellert is correct. Don't forget to like the stream, subscribe to Liberty Politics, subscribe to my channel as well. Comment, join the discussion group. You can see the QR code at the top left. also in the description. And also subscribe to my channel. Link is in the description. I'll briefly post it here as well if you'd like to hear in-depth Middle Eastern analysis like what we're doing now. Yes, so Shul is saying the Great IMEC corridor. That is correct. This is what we're talking about. So Trump recently moved some pipes through Syria, and for this to work, they're going to have to normalize essentially with Israel. And I think that's what's causing this shift. Now, something to keep in mind is that words are cheap. Sounds like the promises of Arafat, one big BS, especially that we are talking about ISIS, Al Qaeda, Al Nusra Lido. So there is something about Sharia that is unclear, because allegedly people with some knowledge claim that he's actually flipped while he was in prison and might not even still be Muslim, but he still holds. There are a lot of factions that he has to hold together. I don't know what's true. So, but that's something to keep in mind. I think I forgot. It may have been Amjad Taha who said this. I'm not sure, but Amjad Taha is generally reliable, and he was very, very optimistic about Syria under Ashara. So we'll see. Now, we're obviously not going to take promises for something, but this is part of a larger pattern. So we saw in Lebanon, one person. There are others. I'll show you another interview that essentially is more pro-Israeli than a lot of Israelis by a Lebanese Christian. And the next one is the president of Syria. Sorry, not the president of Syria. The Israeli president Herzog has just talked to the king of Bahrain, and both the conversation and its publication was initiated by the king of Bahrain. And they talked about the increasing strength of the relationships between Israel and Bahrain. Okay. There's another. Okay, so yeah, exactly. So people are asking why am I not involving the group chat? It's because I want to finish going through this point, and now I'm going to open it up to people. And okay, and I do see there is a question, at least one, but if I missed something, also part of the issue is that a lot of the chat is like in jokes and people talking to each other about stuff that happened to go that I'm not going to go into, and I have to keep my focus on everything, and so I can't read exactly everything. See, Rebecca knows what I'm talking about. I can't go through everything. If there's too much side discussion in the chat, I might miss some questions. So so if people have questions and I haven't responded to them or I've missed them, please put them in the chat now. I saw one, which is asking, I think it was Rebecca, asking how, where the USA does the refining of light crude. I have no idea, actually. I don't know the answer to this. But yeah, so if there are any other questions that I missed, please put them again in the chat, or anything else if anyone wants to chime in about any of the topics, about the several discussions that happened over the last 3 days about peace with Israel. Okay, so you had 1 second before I get to you. Motorride in the chat. I will start to believe that he changed after he will start to return Druze, Christians, Yazidis, Alawites, women, girls, hostages, his people kidnapped a year ago. Absolutely, this is a problem, and I don't think Israel is going to let any of this go. Israel and the Druze have an alliance, a bond, and this is one of the things that would have to be resolved for any sort of peace to happen. And I actually think one of the ways to solve this would be to give. So we talked about the Golan Heights and not giving up rights over Golan Heights. I think there might be a solution where the Druze parts of the Golan Heights become part of Druze land, which is like an independent semi-part of Syria, but independent and also under Israeli umbrella. That might be a way to square that circle. Absolutely, you're not supposed to trust, like you wouldn't trust them until actual behavior starts changing. Okay. So someone, Hungry Yaj, I sent a question. Can you repeat the question? I must have missed it. I'm sorry. I'm keeping up with two chats at the same time. Okay. So Yuda, feel free to now chime in. Say what you have to say.
Hi there. Yeah, I think Giuliani did imprison Rand.
I can't hear
out
it.
with
Okay,
others.
now I can hear it.
Can you hear me? Okay.
Yes, now I can hear it.
It had been when Giuliani was in prison. He ratted out his other colleagues from ISIS.
Yeah.
But you know, for example, the Palestinians in Hebron will hate the Palestinians from Ramallah and rat each other's out. So it doesn't prove that he changed his ideology. And from what I hear, how Syria goes, Syria is now an Islamic State. So, and I know the ideology in Islam. So we are on his plate.
I can totally buy this. I'm not. I heard it was interesting when I heard it, but I wanted to say, well, I'll wait until I see it. There is a difficult balancing act. Like if it's true or if it's false, even if he is not an Islamist, almost everyone around him is. And so practically speaking, this is an Islamic State until proven otherwise, until he actually manages to clear the ranks or manages or like until, okay, without talking about intentions, until he actively clears out the ranks of the Syrian government of Islamists, he should not be trusted. We should assume that he is ISIS. Okay. Another thing I saw here. So 3 million Druze, let them have a country in the north. That they mostly don't want their own country, I think. Especially not the Israeli ones. The ones in Syria and Lebanon might, but the Israeli ones, I think, like being part of Israel. And even then, like the Druze country in the north would probably be under the umbrella of Israel. It'd be like a close ally / proxy of Israel. Proxy not in the sense of like we're not going to do anything with them, but they're going to be at most they're going to be like a way to keep a practical buffer between our borders and those of people who might want to kill us. So okay, Hungry Aj is asking about Kuwait pipeline deal with Blackstone. What's your take on that? I don't know enough about it yet. Like I was going to read about it. Okay, because I heard Blackstone is heavily Israeli. That's not true. That's unless there's something I don't know, but Blackstone has basically no connection to Israel above any other country. I mean, they're a multinational corporation, but they're not. It's just that usually like they're strong, and a lot of conspiracies are about Blackstone, and a lot of conspiracies are about Israel, and so they're the same. But I don't think they have any important connections to Israel. Sassel is saying free.
May I chime in with background information?
Yes. Go ahead.
So Blackstone is connected, like, but okay, they are all together with BlackRock, and BlackRock belongs to Larry Fink.
Oh,
and Larry Fink is Catholic.
Blackstone is Catholic or BlackRock is Catholic?
No, Larry Fink is Catholic.
Oh, okay.
He's not Jewish.
Yeah. Yeah. So I mean, so I'm right in that there's no particular connection, right?
No, between the it's not Chabad. Let's say that.
Yeah. Okay. There you go. All right. So Sahsel is saying, free Iran from occupation of Islamic anti-enlightenment death call Turk government and bring back stability for the world through free markets and John Locke liberalism. Amen. I mean, I completely agree with this. Coffee, aspirin. Should you take those together? I don't think that's a good idea. Nevertheless, donated 10 joules. I actually have no idea what joules are. If anyone wants to explain it in the chat, I'd love to hear it. I've started hearing about joules over the last few days, but I'm not sure what they are. Dead End is saying Jews should have their stay in Sueda and surrounds and southern Syrian, and Maronites should have Lebanon. Not necessarily all of Lebanon, but Maronites, I think Lebanon, the experiment has failed and it should break up into 3 countries. Or at least into a federation where they're both religiously and geographically separated. Where you have the Christian state, you have the Shiite state, and you have the Sunni state. All right. But Fink sounds Jewish. I mean, many names can be Jewish. There are Jewish Finks, but there are also non-Jewish Finks. Okay, yeah. Kevin's saying not to be confused with Black Rock, which I did do. Okay, apparently Blackstone also has a high percentage of Israeli investors or something of that sort. Maybe, but that it's still fundamental. It's not an Israeli or Israeli company or tied in any way to Israeli government. You might have some Israeli investors, like you have investors from several countries because it's a multinational corporation. What's Maronites? Maronites are the Christian Lebanese. Okay, so apparently joules are a YouTube currency that eventually adds up to actual money. Okay, so apparently coffee and aspirin are good together. So I was wrong about that. Learning something new every day. Yeah, the Mordechai Kedal solution for Lebanon. Basically, I mean, it's only 3 states, but yes, Mordechai Kedal has a solution for the Palestinian problem where you divide them up based on their practical tribes, how they actually are divided up in practice in different cities. Each one has its own municipality with autonomy, and all of this would be under an Israeli umbrella, and they'd have like semi-autonomy as cities, not as a country. And that would be the solution for the Palestinian issue, according to Mordechai Kedal, and it's something like that for Lebanon. Okay. Good. Does anyone else? It's really tough to keep up with 2 chats at the same time. Again, if anyone has something to say and I missed it, feel free to put it on the chat again. Okay, yeah, a lot of people. I know nothing about coffee. I don't drink coffee, so I just thought it might not be a good idea, but apparently I was very wrong. Okay. Okay, and so there's a Titanic joke. I'm waiting for someone to post in the chat. Yeah, Monkey saying you're juggling. This is why I don't host school. Yeah, I might not do it again in the future. This is not a fun experience, and I can't share my screen properly with everyone.
I think the Titanic that was Katza, Avi, and Navi Iceberg.
That's a joke for the Titanic. Why the Titanic sounds.
That's a joke. Like he's the teacher of helicopter. You know, the one who stoned Buddhas with mountains.
Okay. Oh, okay. Danny has something to say. Yes, Danny.
Okay, this is like a completely new topic.
I don't know why I'm not hearing people. 1 second.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, but I think it's a problem with my headphones.
Okay, so on a completely new topic, I've been kind of rotting my brain watching Hadar Mukhtar videos, where she she interviews some of the craziest people I've seen on the planet, and that includes like homeless people that stand at my street corners in Canada. So I'm wondering, where do you find these people, and like how are they in Israeli society? Like, are these also the kinds of people that normal people would just avoid on the streets, or are these actual people that you might find in a Kaplan protest with some status?
Can you give me an example of one such video?
Sure. 1 second. There's this one.
Okay, I mean, I'm not gonna watch it now, but can you tell me what
Okay.
they say?
Sure. She is talking to a woman, and the woman says before Bibi was in control, the country was a very pleasant place to live in. And then she specifies that she's referring to the security situation. And then Hadar brings up Oslo and the Intifadas and so on. And then the woman says, "You don't know your history," and walks away. Yeah, just people that in general don't know things and are super smug about it, and just have. They seem to be doing some sort of anti-Israel protest, but I'm not familiar with the scene, and I don't know where they're doing it and why and so on.
That it was actually in Canada.
So this is in Israel.
Okay, so it's not an anti-Israel protest. It's an anti-government protest.
Sure.
They wouldn't call themselves anti-Israel. You might call them anti-Israel. But
They can
wouldn't
call
themselves anti-Israel. Okay. It's the same syndrome that we see with Trump now, and with mainstream media, which has been becoming less and less serious over the last, I don't know how long. I don't know when it was ever serious. Maybe it was never serious. Maybe mainstream media was always just about pushing agendas. But there are people, and the older they are, the more susceptible they are to this. I see this a lot in yeah. So Monkey is saying BDS, and he means BB derangement syndrome, and I like to call it BDS as well. I think it's very funny that it's the initials are BDS. Yeah. So and it's one part of it is BB derangement syndrome, where you assume everything he does is evil and to serve his own personal interests, even though he could have just quit politics ages ago, not have stood on trial, and would have made millions giving lectures and so on, like Ehud Barak did. And the more likely situation is that he truly, genuinely thinks he is the best person to lead Israel right now. And you could agree or disagree, but I think it's just a better reflection of his actions. So they think everything is done for the purpose of prolonging his rule and or corruption and stuff like that. And at the same time, they just take everything said in the news at face value. And I see that the older they are, the more common this is. And I have some family members like this as well. Like in general, the dumbest takes online are usually given by 70-plus-year-olds that just don't seem to be able to think coherently about politics in any level of nuance. Now we have some young people like that as well, but so Amir, I'd love to see some of what you mean by this. Before, maybe differences are bottom to top. Now, knowing Amir, he's saying things were much better before Netanyahu. I'm not saying they were significantly worse, but I'd love to hear examples of what specific things you're talking about. Presumably, I'll agree with some and disagree with others. I just don't think it's that much of a contrast. Like in like it was very good before and now it's very bad. I think both of those would be too simplistic. So Netanyahu, like people essentially just don't notice when they're being propagandized to, fortunately. Okay, so yeah, I mean that's basically it. And a lot of those people are in the protest. The median age of the people in those protests is 60 plus. And I think that has to do with it.
So I can I know like what kind of segment of population are we talking about? Is this like 10 people that stand at street corners, or 1,000, or what?
It's a few thousand. It's a few thousand that stand in the same street corner in Tel Aviv because it's close to home. Now it's not just that. I mean, these are countrywide protests with dozens of people in each intersection, partially blocking the intersection, not realizing that they're only making people hate them, and people who are teetering are going to go to the other side. But I think, was someone else going to talk as well? Yeah.
Yeah, I was thinking about how older people have generally far higher trust in the kind of legacy media, TV news, etc. That's certainly the case here, and I assume it's the case basically everywhere.
Yeah, I think this is a major part of why this is happening. I agree. I think I at least tried to say the same thing. Maybe I wasn't as clear about it as you were just now. But yeah, I mean, think that's part of it. They don't notice they're being propagandized to. They just trust media and take what they see at face value. And it's like, well, how are other people not seeing this? Are they not smart enough? Are they evil? The news keeps showing me how bad everything is. So why is not everyone agreeing with me? And it's such a cognitive dissonance that they can't resolve. And putting that alongside with the research by Jonathan Haidt about the moral so he has moral foundations theory, but also he did research showing that liberals, and it's related to moral foundations. Okay, so moral foundations is generally liberals care about two moral axes. One is care harm, meaning that people should feel good, and another is equality, inequality, or justice, injustice, which is that like things should be equitable. and conservatives also have other axes by which they make moral decisions. One is loyalty. Another is like taboo, like purity. So you have things that are just pure for the sake of, there's just things that are not done in our society. And the fifth, I think, is, it might be, I don't want to say it without remembering it. But the issue is that liberals, because they only care about care harm, and fair enough, maybe care or harm is what fundamentally everything boils down to, but because they only care about that, they flatten everything that conservatives do into those two axes, and then if they're not maximized, then the only way to interpret that is that either the conservatives are evil or the conservatives are dumb. and so that's how they see the world. And usually, and especially in America, they just see them as evil. And so when you ask conservatives to answer as if they were liberals, and liberals to answer as if they were conservatives, like trying to put on a conservative mindset and see if you can answer the way a person from the other side would think, the liberals were far, 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 far more inaccurate. They had a caricature of what the other side is. And one of the reasons is moral foundations. Presumably, the other is media bubbles. And conservatives were much more able to accurately reflect what the liberals would think. And I think it's a combination of not having media literacy and just believing mainstream media at face value, taking it at face value, and also just having the problem of the moral foundations where you fundamentally don't understand people with traditions and so on that don't just maximize for care, harm, and equality. And so your only solution is, okay, the news tells me they're evil, and my logic tells me they're evil because I can't parse what they're doing any other way. So, okay, so we're just dealing with evil people that are trying to take over the country and trying to create a dictatorship. Yeah, so they weren't asked to steel man each other's position. It rhymes a bit with steel manning. But they were asked to answer as if they were the other person. That's not the same as steel manning, because steel manning might be thinking of an idea that's better than the other person, or thinking of reasons to think what the other person is thinking that are better. Yeah, okay. Good. Any other thoughts, ideas, questions before I play this very interesting video? Okay, so I'll move on to the next video. Now, it's a bit long, so I'm not going to translate it word for word, but it is very, very interesting. Okay. Put it in your head, after October 7th, Israel is not going to leave one Hamas member in its southern border and a militia like Hezbollah on its northern borders. Okay, so the interviewer is very anti-Israeli. And so he's saying any attack on the country of Israel, the Israeli defense, by the way, calling it Israeli Defense Forces, is also taboo. Used to be taboo. Now it's becoming less taboo. But she's interrupting him, saying, country, it's not a country. Do you acknowledge Israel as a country? Of course, I acknowledge it as a country.
Defense forces.
Did someone do something to open their mic?
I wanted to ask
something.
Yeah. Defense forces. What do they call it if not that?
What?
When you say defense forces, what do they call it if not Israeli defense forces? Like
the occupation army, Jaysh al-Ihtilal, the army of occupation. Yeah. Okay. I'm going to continue. Okay, so this is a Hezbollah defender saying Hezbollah agrees to go with the Lebanese government as long as it's not signing a surrender agreement with Israel that also acknowledges Israel. Oh, you can't. Okay, so people are saying they can't hear the video. Do you want to hear it? I mean, it's Arabic. Maybe for the tone. I'll try doing it so you can hear the tone of voice as well. But it does say that it's sharing tab audio. Okay, I'll try doing it this way. Good Arabic pronunciation. Thank you. Yeah, as I mentioned, I do speak Arabic. I'm not fluent, but I'm a pretty high level. I can hold a conversation.
Do a weekend in Paris and you speak fluently Arab.
Yeah, there you go. I just need a little bit of to go to a native Arabic speaking country like France, and then I'm all settled. Okay, so she's essentially spouting Hezbollah propaganda, and he's saying, "Oh my god, oh my god." Okay, like I'm gonna have to deal with this. Okay, saying, okay, the president of the Republic, the Lebanese Republic, under Lebanese order, like the Lebanese president, the Lebanese Republic sent a Lebanese envoy who stood and shook the hand of the Israeli ambassador. And they put the flag of Israel next to the flag of Lebanon and signed a framework agreement between the state of Israel and the state of Lebanon. If my country acknowledges Israel, should I not acknowledge Israel? And she apparently she was nodding. He says, yes. What do you mean, yes? This story that Israel is this absolute evil and Israel is a terror state, and we have to be done with this story. If you compare Israel between all the countries that border Israel, Israel will end up with, from that comparison, the most respectful, decent, and beautiful country among them. Again, this is a Lebanese person saying this. And then she's like, oh my God, how can you say that? This is a video from a few days ago. People in the chat are asking. They say that Israel is a terror country and a criminal country, right? Okay, let's check. Go on Google. What did the Ba'ath Party in Iraq do in the NFL? And what did the Syrian Ba'ath Party do in Tadmur and in Hama? And what did they do in Yarmouk? And she's saying, what I care about is Lebanon. What I care about is Lebanon. Let me finish. How many people died in Darfur in the massacre in Sudan? "20 years before Israel was formed, how many Armenians and Assyrians did the Turks massacre? 20 years before Israel was formed. And you all define Israel as a terror state? He who lives in a glass house should not throw stones, is basically what he's saying. The most, I want to get, oh shit. I want to get exactly the phrasing here, because that's a very strong phrasing. One second. The most respectable and pure and beautiful country in the East is Israel. If you leave it alone, it's going to leave you alone. Meaning, if you don't fight it, it's going to leave you alone. And what about the crimes that Israel is conducting in the south of Lebanon, meaning bombings and assassinations and the killing of civilians, children, women, and elderly. Listen, you can't launch a rocket at Israel, and the person who launched the rocket would go to sleep then among civilians, and then tell me and complain to me like, oh, why did they kill civilians? This is justification, like or excuse making, and he's saying, yes, I am justifying it. You justify the state of Israel? How many Israelis died on October 7th? By the way, he's going to get this wrong. 2,500 Israeli. He's saying martyrs. By the way, he said shahid. Now it's wrong. It was 1,200, unless maybe I don't think there's a way that you count it that you get 2,500. And then it's like, oh, you're calling them shaheeds? No. The civilian that you went in and killed is definitely a martyr. We are a country that signed the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. And you can't discriminate between a Jew and a Christian. So what if they're Jewish? They're civilians. And of course, otherwise, what does it mean that we signed the Declaration of Human Rights? Wait, people can't see it in the chat? Okay, maybe. Okay, Motorride is saying, I think counts all the people that died since then. Why is that thing 2 frames per second? Because I'm sharing it in the group chat, and in sharing it in the group chat, for some reason, it's not showing it properly on my screen. It's something dumb about school, and it's not giving me the option to either. But I want the group to be able to see it as well, so it's the only way I can do it. No, it's not. Okay, it's not 25,000. It's 2,500. Amir is saying 25,000. No way. No, it's 2,500. It's 2,500. And it's frozen. Okay, well, it's frozen for some reason. Okay, and yeah, he's flipping it around on her, like, oh, your religion, your beliefs, they allow you to distinguish. So what if they're Jewish? Which, of course, since they're Jewish, they're less human, according to her. She's not going to admit it because they have been flying the flag of human rights and universal human rights and so on for so long as a way to spite Israel. But now she can't admit it because he basically trapped her. What, being Jewish is a curse? It's a put down. The Jew is better than you and I. Hamas came and killed 2,500, again 2,500 Israeli civilians, innocent Israeli civilians on October 7th. Again, the number is like half that on October 7th. Where did the Israelis kill Salah al-Aruri, who is a commander at Hamas? He's like one of the probably like top 5 people at his day in his day. Jews are better than who? He's saying the Jews are better than you and I. I'm not actually sure if he's Christian or Muslim. His name is Rawad Nassar. It doesn't really sound Christian. So he might. He also said La ilaha illallah, and I don't think Christians say La ilaha illallah. So he might actually be Muslim. He's just pro-Israel. But he's saying that because he was like, "What, the Jews? You called the Jews shaheeds?" And wait, I lost the comment. Okay, and so he's saying that she was putting down the Jews, like how dare you call Jews shuhada or like shaheeds, and essentially saying, "Look, you're one to talk. Like, first of all, they deserve. They have we signed the Declaration of Universal Human Rights. It also applies to Jews. And secondly, if anything, they're better than us. And they killed, well, where did they kill this Hamas operative? In the Dahia. Dahia is the essentially Hezbollah neighborhood of Beirut. Okay, so if Hamas does that, and then Hezbollah hides Salah al-Arouri in the Dahia, if they, meaning Hezbollah, don't care about their own people, then I should care about those people? Because if they put him in the Dahia, that means, and knowing he's a elimination target, they're the one putting the they're putting their own people at risk, meaning the Shiites, because the Dahia is full of Shiites. Okay, so our resident Arabic speaker saying Nasar is really close to Nasrani, which is Christian in Islamic Arabic. Yeah, but Nasar, so like also means victor. Like Nasr is the victory, and Nasar would be the victor. So I don't know. Maybe I missed a comment by you. So feel free to super chat, then I won't be able to miss it. Okay, forget technical experiments like this video, stick to analysis and talk. Yeah, I'll do that in the future. This is definitely an illuminating experience. I thought I'd try streaming this, but I'm not sure how well this is going to work. And also, anyone in, okay, I'm gonna stop the video now. I think you got the gist. These are voices that used to be very, very uncommon, and now they're becoming more and more common. People are allowing themselves to say what they really feel about Israel and Israelis in Lebanon. Okay, so if there are any questions that I missed, quickly going through the comments now. Yeah, Dajjal, fuck this app, absolutely. Yes, so Danny's saying, can we all appreciate how crazy it is that he's saying this in public and is not afraid of imminently dying? Yeah, now the overturn window has shifted drastically in Lebanon. Shares from StreamYard instead of school, then I can't share school. That's the problem. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, but this. Okay. Danny has something to say.
Yeah, I wanted to ask, what channel is this interview on, and how popular is his opinion?
Okay, so for how popular his opinion is, this actually brings me nicely into my next point. I'm going to read this out because it's going to be blurry. You can share school after the video. They're just sitting there anyway. Yeah, but I also want the people from school to be able to see it. So okay, so this is what I wanted to share. these are polls that were done for like how are the peace agreement with Israel. Are you for or against it, and by how much? And it goes. I'll read and translate. So this is in Arabic. The Druze, 84.2% for. 84.2% of the Druze in Lebanon support the peace agreement with Israel. The Maronites, meaning the Christians. Part of the Christians. It's one sect among the Christians. 76.5%. The Orthodox, 72.2% support. Now, among Sunnis, it's like 50-50, but leaning support. 51.6% support, 44.1% against. The Shia, however, is 92.1%. 92.1% against. So the Shia are very much against it. This was, again, from a couple months ago, from when the agreement was signed. So the vast majority of Lebanese people are for this. You have slight support among Sunnis, and you have, other than the Shia, who are majorly against it, all the other groups are very much in favor of it. 70+% of each other group. No, so Sapia's asking if is there something I want you to comment on or want to go next stream. I have one more news thing to talk about, and then you can comment on whatever you want out of these things. I'd love to hear what you have to say. Okay. So let me stop sharing. One other thing, Israel just agreed to put in some international stabilization forces, giving them a principal allowance to go into Gaza as dictated by the 20-point plan, into the part of Gaza that is controlled by Hamas, but like 200 soldiers, and it's only from countries that are friendly to Israel, and no one is actually going to go in while Hamas is in power, very clearly. So this is just a statement to show that we're not the ones ruining the agreement. It's Hamas, and so therefore Israel should be allowed to go in. Yes, that's essentially it. And the green line, sorry, the yellow line keeps moving inwards into Hamas territory. Ina Harina Barde, Shavrava, Barmigarde. I'm not sure what the second to last word is. I only know how to read the letters because they're mostly Arabic, and I know that the ones that aren't, but I don't know any. USSR. Yeah, it's not off Maxo. It's Shavravi, I guess. Yeah, it's a Yud. This is the last battle. USSR comes back. So, okay. Yeah, I know it's Persian, Steve. I read it. Inacharina Barde Pahlavi Barmigarde is the call for Pahlavi will return. Okay. So apparently it's communism. All right. Okay. Yeah. So, do you have anything? Oh, and the Netherlands also had a pride parade, and it's just filled. I'm not going to show the video now, but it's filled with Palestinian flags. There's one pride flag, and all the rest are Palestinian flags. It's insane. It is absolutely insane. What is fucking wrong with these people? Okay. Yeah. All right. Oh, and the new president of Colombia is canceling the plans to open a Colombian embassy in the Palestinian Authority areas, and also other like Islamic countries. He's canceling the embassies in them. And Naftali Bennett said that in the next government he's going to declare Qatar as an enemy state. Yeah, that's it. Okay. So does anyone want to say anything about any of this?
Yeah, if you don't mind.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, you're not kidding about Colombia. They are definitely going full back Israel and to screw everybody else, which is interesting. Also, if you guys heard, Marco Rubio went and told the ICC how many different ways they were to stuff it,
Yeah.
and Venezuela backed them up immediately. They're also pulling out, and I expect the rest of those South American countries also to tell the independent international court to go take a flying leap. Yeah, it's been very, very interesting for those of you that are not following that part of the politics of it, but it's been interesting to say the least.
Yeah, absolutely. I talked about the ICC, Rubio's ICC moves in my last stream, as usual with Rubio. He's very effective, and so if he's going after the ICC, he's going to win.
The thing that was interesting about it, everybody, is that there was 60 like-minded nations at that gathering. I know it's not the entire world, but it's pretty much the free world agreeing that this court has no grounds in their countries and everything else, you know?
Yeah.
And really, you really want to judge in the United States going to your country and saying that your president of your country violated international law and arrest them? Because that's basically what they're trying to do, saying, why don't your police officers arrest these people because they committed crimes? Their version of a crime, our version of a crime, two different things.
Yep.
You know? Yep. Because when you think about it, not a single person in that court has said anything about Hamas and October 7th. But they have accused Bibi of the massacre that comes afterwards. So that invalidates that court for everyone that's in this chat and everybody in the world. Whether they're going to do it or not, don't know. Whether it's I hate Trump, that's why I have no clue. But I am glad that Rubio stood up to the motherfuckers, pardon the French, English, and hopefully you don't get any knocks against you, because it was about time someone did.
Yep, absolutely. I completely agree, and I'm really happy Rubio did it. And he's also framing it really well. It's about sovereignty. He's saying these are unelected officials from other countries trying to tell us what to do. Fuck them. We don't recognize this court, and they're trying to control us. They're globalists trying to control us. We don't accept that. We're a sovereign country. We have our own courts. We don't want you to tell us what to do. Okay, so Cheetah is asking a good question. Why Qatar? Because Qatar is one of the absolute major funders of lies against Israel. It is also housing, it used to house at least, I think it still does though, Hamas operatives, like Hamas leaders in it, even after October 7th. It is Muslim Brotherhood. It's a country that is a major backer of the Muslim Brotherhood, trying to take over the West, trying to destabilize the West, trying to destabilize Israel, and trying to turn the West against Israel. They are trying to they're trying to destroy Israel through the court of public opinion with lies and or half truths that put aside the important parts that make it okay, it's not what you made it sound like. Yeah, so that's why Israel is should put Qatar on an enemy countries list. It is arguably the most destructive country to Israel, just by virtue of the amount of lies and soft soft incitement that it puts forward. Yeah, and funds to Western universities should be illegal to accept. Yeah, it's funding Western universities to push woke ideologies and anti-Western ideologies. Isn't Al Jazeera based in Qatar? Yes, it is. It is the Qatari propaganda arm that sometimes does good reporting. That's how propaganda arms work. They do some good reporting. They tell like truth, so that when they push the lie, you're not going to notice. Okay, another, and so Boboism, chickens for KFC. I assume talking about the pride parade that had more Palestinian flags than pride flags. I agree. It's insane. And okay, and Mufshi is asking, unrelated, does anyone have any tips to learn Hebrew? Interesting that you should ask that, because I actually have an online course that the reason I made it is because there weren't any good resources that weren't super expensive, like $1,000 per semester. Putting in the chat now. It's also in the description. It's called Heblio. It's an online self-paced course based on my background in cognitive science and my background in language learning. You saw some of it today. And it's based on and also many years of teaching Hebrew and seeing what works and what doesn't and optimizing a system based on that. So if you're interested, it's self-paced. A lot of effort was put into it. Recorded over 2,000 words. If anyone is interested in learning Hebrew, as I've heard that some people a surprising number of people in this community have been interested. So like you, for example. And so I figured it's worth mentioning it once in a while. Okay. And then RG Rappaport. Thanks, Guy, and everyone. Bye, Guy. Please check email tonight regarding Heblio. I will. Okay. Good. So we have a bit of time left. Is Sapir still here? Juggling the chats is so difficult. Either Sapir or anyone else that has something to say.
I just want to say, I think, I don't know if everybody can hear me. I think that America should also declare like Qatar an enemy state. I think that maybe if hopefully we get Rubio in next, maybe that's something we can do under his term. I think right now it's about strategizing and figuring out which enemy and targets you need to take out first. And so it's not different enemies, but there's different priorities based on location, population size, et cetera, et cetera. But yeah, I would love to see Qatar. I mean, they're clearly trying to dismantle our democracy and our sovereignty and our identity. And I mean, they're an enemy to America as well. Maybe they're more existential currently to Israel, just because of location and priority, like I said. But they're an enemy state.
So I completely agree with what you're saying. Okay, I just saw a very disturbing chat that I'll have to read. Fortunately, why can't it be something simple like Jew hatred and Metzitzava and stuff like that? But I will read it, unfortunately. Yeah, so Hungry AJ is saying every news network is propaganda because they got to listen to their investor daddies and beliefs. Absolutely. I think this is true. So Shauna, back to you. I completely agree. And I think one of the things that would make it much easier, like one of the reasons that Qatar holds power is that it frames itself as being like the Sweden of or the Switzerland of the Middle East, in that it's completely neutral. And so it allows discussions between Iran and neighboring countries. And once the regime falls, they will not have that kind of power anymore. And also, there would not be any need for the American base there. And I think what I hope would happen is that in Trump's term, we're going to eliminate a lot of the enemies of America and the West. Specifically, I can see both the IRGC regime and sorry, the IRGC regime and the Russian Federation regime. I can see them both falling before Trump is out of office. I'm not sure what's going to happen with Russia afterwards, but I can see Putin falling before the end of the regime, and then the next president, hopefully Rubio, will be able to create a golden age of international politics. As you Shapiro, my Hebrew is lo tov meod. It should be lo tova, so that I mean, I guess you're you have a point there. So yeah, I mean, again, for somehow a lot of people here, a surprising number of people here, thought that Hebrew would be relevant to them. So by all means, take a look. Okay, and this will be probably the last thing we do today before I recommend you go watch Armin and his stream with Monkey. Forcing you, Guy, to admit that I still have cat privileges with Danielle and you do not have. I have not tried having a profile picture of my cat, Rebecca. I've not tried doing that. And the operation to gain soft power over Danielle is a long-term operation. It's not, Rome wasn't built in a day, and neither was Danielle's heart taken in a day. Okay, and with that, I highly recommend everyone go watch Armin's stream with Monkey. That's going to start in less than 10 minutes. And let me find the link so I can put it in the chat. Okay, well, I found the one to Monkey's stream. It's the same stream, so go watch it on Monkey's channel. For some reason, I can't find the okay, why is it not posting? Okay, there it is. Is someone's mic open? Danielle, do you have something to say about if it's not about renouncing Rebecca, I'm going to mute you. Okay. Yeah, so this is the stream. Go watch that. If you're not subscribed to my channel, usually it goes smoother than this because I don't have to juggle two chats. If you're watching on Liberty Politics, I'm going to post my channel in the chat again. It's also in the description. And join our discussion group. Here we go. Join our discussion group using the QR code or the link for the discussion group in the description. And that's it. I'll see everyone next time. Thank you, everyone, for coming. And we'll see whether we'll stream the group discussions again in the future, because this is way more hard than I thought it would be. Becca's saying he will never announce me. We'll see. We'll see. I have my methods. Okay. Yes, I am overwhelmed. Soapbox. Okay. Maybe I'll get used to it. Yuda's saying you'll get used to it. We'll see. The question is it worthwhile to get used to? In terms of like the extra benefit it gives the viewers.
You're doing a good job, dude. Man, your insight into like all things inside of Israel and the Middle East is rare. So yeah,
thank you.
Keep doing it, man. It'll grow on you. I'm sure.
So I'm definitely going to keep doing streams. The question is, am I going to do the discussion groups as streams?
Yeah. I really hope you do. Okay. You already see that you've got like 15 people, like, and it's morning time, right? Yeah. I hope you do, man, because you give us a beautiful insight into things that most Americans and Westerners really don't understand. I mean, most Americans can't find half the states on the map, and inside of Israel, your kind of insight is so appreciated, man. Maybe you don't realize it, but it's like we hunger for that because we don't understand it. It's a parliamentary system, obviously, with the Knesset and all the internal machinations, and the intelligent layman just really doesn't have an access to the kind of insight and objective, impartial
That's not impartial.
breakdown and analysis that you give us, right? So, yes, please
Sorry,
keep doing it. Yeah.
One thing before, I think Jose also wants to say something. What I'll probably do in the future is I'll have someone moderate the Q&A part, the discussion group part, and so they'll be able to find like questions and stuff like that in the discussion group. I now see why Armin needs moderators here. And I think that might make it easier, and they'll be able to pick up like, are there any questions? There will be someone monitoring it and letting me know.
And if you can have someone also moderate the stream, your YouTube stream at the same time, it'll save you time there as well. If they can like telegram you and say, "Yo, look at this,"
Yeah. Okay.
I don't know if that's possible or not, but
yeah, it's a bit difficult. They could maybe, I don't know if they can star messages. I don't think they can. I think it's, if I have another person here, they can star messages. Which often I'll have streams either with Sapir or with other Israeli guests that I think are worthwhile and have like a different opinion than I do. But at the same time, I trust them to like see all sides. And by the way, as someone said rightly, I'm not objective. I'm trying to give you all sides of issues in a way that those sides would agree is like, fair enough. You represented my side well. But I don't claim to be objective, and beware of anyone who claims to be objective, especially about a topic you know nothing about, because even if it's even worse if they think they're objective, because then they're not lying to you, they're just ignorant of their own biases.
Would it be more proper to state that you're impartial? Because I don't believe that a person with bias is not objective, because you can be biased against like the Islamic Republic, for example, but also objective. So that's my opinion. Right. And on your own channel, your stream, once you get bigger, and once like you have thousands and thousands of subscribers and stuff, then you'll need a moderator, because that's when the crazies come out, right?
Yeah.
You're growing fast, you're new, but at some point, the crazy trolls and the Russians and the jihadis will come out and and start making trouble. So that's when you got to like look for mods and stuff like that. That's my opinion. Okay.
Yeah, I agree with that. So to clarify again, I'm not impartial. I think what I can do well, and I've trained at doing this, is to see, to be able to see all perspectives. And I get like my news from very varied channels, and also opinions. Like I see what everyone is saying, and I think I can tap into why from their perspective they're right. And so I think that's the important thing for allowing people to see the Israel perspective, is showing like this side thinks this for this and this reasons, and this is where I think they're right, and this is where I think they're wrong. So far what I've gathered is that like a lot of people are like people from opinions I disagree with have told me that, yes, fair enough, you represent our opinions well. Jose, you're muted.
I agree.
Everything was said.
Wait. Sorry. So Jose first.
I didn't have anything else to say. I'm good. I just said that,
Okay.
I think you do need a moderator now because it's getting to the point where you can't do both. And I think you do
Yeah.
need to go and stream this live.
Okay. Thank you.
That's why you need a moderator now.
Yeah, I need a moderator for the group discussion. I don't need a moderator for YouTube chat yet, which is what Soap was talking about. So go on, MC.
If it's okay for me again, we may have a different opinion on or definitional dynamic with what objective is, but you say that like you're not impartial. I disagree with that. You're just giving a layout of like all sides of what is happening in Israel with the parties and then all that without bias, without necessarily, most times, you give your own opinion, but it doesn't mean that you're non-objective. I mean, you're an epistemologist, for God's sake, so you know that,
Yeah.
I think you and I, are probably on the same page if we're using a couple of different terms, but that's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So I have to go. But I mean, I agree. I don't want people to think that I think I'm objective. And I don't want people to think that I claim to be objective. I want people to know that I come from certain opinions. And I do my best to try to present things despite specific biases that I have, to present like the facts as best as I can. But that doesn't mean that I'm not going to make mistakes or that I should be the only source you should use for understanding Israel. Okay, everyone, please like the stream, subscribe to the channels, comment, helps the algorithm, share with people you think might be interested in this. This is also going to get clipped to smaller videos that will go on either channel. And go watch Armin's stream with Monkey. And I'll see you next time. I'm not sure if I'm going to stream tomorrow or Wednesday. I'll stream it on one of those. All right. See you, everybody. Bye.